It's not just politicians, though, taking aim at fellow congressmen and senators the president was referring to. It's the private sector. It's higher education. Case in point, my next guest, a rising Republican star by all accounts, who worked her way into Harvard. Now Harvard is walking away from her. Joining us now, Republican Congresswoman Elise Stefanik of New York. Congresswoman, your story is phenomenal. I did not know all of it. I read Bill McGurn's column today in the Wall Street Journal, and he's went to bat for you because he's seen you in action. You come from a family without college graduates. They sell plywood upstate New York. You excel to the point where you get into Harvard on your own merits. You didn't pretend to be a rowing scholar. So you graduate, the Bush administration drafts you, you serve there, come back, and at 30 you're a congresswoman. Why is Harvard taking your degree?
This is cancel culture that we're seeing. As you played some of the clips earlier, Brian, we're hearing from Democrats and from the left that they want to cancel anyone from the conservative movement or, frankly, anyone that supported President Trump. Harvard asked me to resign twice from the Senior Advisory Committee on the Institute of Politics. I refused to resign because I will not be canceled just because of political correctness. I've been involved with the Bipartisan Institute of Politics since I was a freshman at Harvard. And again, I'm a first-generation college graduate in my family. I'm very proud of my values and how I was raised. But this is an example of the American dream. And what is so disappointing is now the entire board of the Institute of Politics is made up of 100% Joe Biden voters. That is not reflective of America. And we are just seeing more and more of this cancel culture from corporations, in communities, and higher education. It's not reflective of reality, and it's not who we are as Americans.
You're not one to take a backward step. I've seen you in action. Here's what Harvard said in a letter to you. Elise has made public assertions about voter fraud in November's presidential election that have no basis in evidence, and she has made public statements about court actions related to the election that are incorrect. Moreover, their assertions and statements do not reflect policy disagreements, but bear on the foundation electoral process through which this country's leaders are chosen. That's why they want your degree back. Your response?
My response is the reason why they booted me from the board of the Institute of Politics was because I objected to the Electoral College. And what was covered in the Wall Street Journal today by Bill McGurn is that actually when I was a student, one of the board members was Jesse Jackson Jr., who objected twice in 2001 and 2005 to the electors from Florida in the case of 2001 and Ohio in the case of 2005. He didn't get kicked off the board. So I know this is about purging conservative viewpoints. Now they're taking it a step further and wanting to revoke degrees that have been earned, 4 years of studying hard, passing my classes, writing a thesis, doing well, excelling. They cannot take that away. They will face legal action. And they're not just trying to do it to me. They're trying to do it to any Republican, even Dan Crenshaw, who voted differently than I did when it came to the Electoral College. So this is shameful. And the people it hurts the most, Brian, are the students. We want to make sure that students are exposed to a diversity of opinions and perspectives and not just a one-sided view, because it's not reflective of reality when they graduate.
Yeah, these students petitioned because they didn't like your approach. Dan Crenshaw, Ted Cruz, Kayleigh McEnany are under the same type fire. Harvard grads that I guess Harvard is not proud of any longer. So you're not going to take a backward step. I know Alan Dershowitz says he'll represent you for free. We'll see where that goes. So you're not, at least people are looking at you as a leader, even though you're in your 30s and got there in 2014. Some are worried about the Republican Party, despite how well you did outside the presidency in this last election. Are you?
I am not worried about the future of the Republican Party because I see it at a local level. Republicans are energized. We were very excited about the outcome in the House, the historic number of Republican women who we elected. We have a very diverse class. And I think our message of standing up for the working people in this country, for economic opportunity against big government that we see in the state of New York with the shutdowns and the struggles for small businesses. I also think we are seeing that even though President-elect Biden is talking about unifying, his policy proposals are far-left policy proposals. We're seeing that in his first COVID relief plan, where he didn't even reach out to Republicans.
You can actually have your voice heard with such a slight minority status, about 10 seats, depending on how one seat goes either way. Is there any sector on the Democratic Party that you feel you could work with?
Of course. I work with Democrats on issues all the time where we can find common ground, combating the opioid epidemic, making sure that we're combating human trafficking, getting COVID relief and vaccines to the states that need it. So, of course, we will look for common ground, but we need to see that from the Biden administration more than just rhetoric, and we need to see that from our colleagues in the House and in the Democratic Senate.
Yeah, a little bit of hope because moderates were pressuring Nancy Pelosi over the summer. She didn't listen, and that's what really caused the deficit in the House. Elise, continue the fight. Thanks so much. I'm so glad I wasn't close to having the grades to get into Harvard because I'm embarrassed by the way they're acting now. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Congresswoman.
Thanks, Brian.